What's up, bitches? Malachi here, out to offend more people about on car repairs for cursing and swearing in his videos. But I don't monetize my shit, so you're getting free what you put in. So cursing's just a added benefit. Today we got my own personal vehicle, 2017 Colorado has I call him here. We got the 3.6 liters of Chevy Thunder, as they call it. Basically, the symptoms are your radiator fan stays on after you shut your vehicle off. And you're like, why is it doing this? There's two things that are going to give you symptoms. I think there's a code in there that will pop up eventually, but I haven't gotten the code yet. I just know what the problem is, so I'm going to deal with my problem. You shut the vehicle off, fan stays running for about 2 to 5 minutes or so. Other symptoms will be your temperature gauge in your dash never goes past the 160 point weight at the bottom, and it never reaches full temperature. You'll have some reduced heat. Your AC won't work at all, so no defrost and shit like that. So these are your symptoms of what's going on and why it's happening. Your thermostat sticks. And so when your thermostat sticks, the vehicle never gets up to temperature. Now, there's a possibility your coolant temperature sensor is bad, and it's probably not, because you're going to pop a code for that. So it has an implausible temperature thing after so many minutes of running, so that's why your fan stays on, and it disables your AC compressor from kicking on. So what's the fix, you say? Well, put a new thermostat in there. Well, where's the thermostat? And here it is, right here's the new one going in. I haven't screwed it down. Getting it out isn't too tough. There are 3 fasteners. There's one up here. Well, here. Let's look at it up here. There's one up here. There's one dead center way down in there. These 3 bolts are all 10 millimeters. 10 millimeter fasteners. One is longer than the other. I want to say the one on the passenger side valve cover, I think goes in right here. This one up here is up here, I believe, on top of the intake. And the last one goes into this little bracket that sticks up like this, blocking your thermostat. So all you need is 10 millimeter and 13 millimeter to get this thing out. And 8 millimeter, because you also then have to take off this hose clamp, loosen this hose clamp for your off your intake housing, mass airflow sensor housing, and your throttle body. Lastly, you also have this little hose. You got to kind of reach in and push this little white thing from the side. See how she moves? And on the underside here is a little nipple. And you just you reach in there with your little dirty little dick beaters, and you pinch the nipple a little bit, and she squeals and she comes right off. You then wiggle the entire operation out. At that point in time, you're mostly seeing basically this little bracket right here and the radiator hose housing, which I got to go find the gasket for this, because it turns out the new thermostat does not come with that gasket. Here is your part number. This is what you want to get. I bought mine on the internets. There's probably aftermarket versions of this. I just went with, OEM, because, whatever. First one lasted me 108,000 miles. So, at that point in time, you take your 2 bolts off for this. These are 2 13 millimeters. I'm using a power tool, but, you fuck with whatever cock you got. So if you ain't got that, you ain't got that. At that point in time, there are 2 fasteners that will be holding this little plastic elbow neck in place. Boop. Take those 2 off. At that point in time, you'll almost have access to the 2 bolts down in there. Now, of these 2 bolts, they both kind of stink. I'm going to kind of give you a summary of how they are. This one, you need to move the little block of foam that's on the intake over just slightly. Now, I personally use a long screwdriver or stuck her in there and just put to the side, and then reached in with a long extension on a 10 millimeter on a 1/4 inch drive, and she unscrewed no problem. The passenger side one, and sorry if this is all fuzzy, not a focus, it's bright as fuck, and I ain't cleaned the lens on my camera before I videoed, because, you know, hey, I'm a dick. Here, let me clean it up for y'all so y'all maybe see. Yeah, I shoot with my cell phone. I don't have a camera set up and speakers, so if it sounds like crap, well, you got what you paid for. Now on this one, it's a little trickier. Your instinct is to attempt to use a universal of some kind. I found that to be not effective. I found it was better to take off one little 10 millimeter bolt right here, and there's a coolant line. It's a metal line that comes through, and then I took a pry bar and tweaked the whole metal line over just a tiny bit, and then I was able to reach in straight shot without a universal. I think another option you could have is a really short 10 millimeter socket. So you take a 10 millimeter 1/4 inch drive and you cut it off with an angle grinder to just make it just, but you know how you get there, you know, whatever. Maybe you can't. And that allowed me to straight shot that screw right out of there, and you will then try and get it out of here. It's a bit of a tight fit. What you're gonna see, this little hose, and you know them hose, they always giving you problems in life, but this black hose, and you know, white hose will do it to you too, you know, whatever. Mexican, I do all the hose, I'm fine with all that. But this one right here kind of blocks you from getting the line out. This is the metal line you're gonna wanna tweak over. And it moves a little bit. I just pried it over, bent it just a tiny bit, and I'll bend it back. It's my own personal truck. I ain't got to worry about being nice. As long as it don't leak in the future, I'm good. But you can get that thermostat housing from between these two cylinder heads. Spray this down with a little bit of lube. Your hose will love lube, let me tell you. And work it, wiggle, and she pops right out. At that point in time, slide the new one in. The new thermostat housing will come with the built-in thermostat. It will come with a gasket. It will come with new fasteners. It does not come with this gasket. So I have to go try and find one, or I can RTV it if I want to, but that's a stupid mistake. But you know, whatever. Again, that's what's fucking with the cock you got. That's what Malachi says, right? So I'm about to screw this thing down, put this thing back together, and then bleed out my coolant system. Hopefully that goes smoothly. I don't see any reason why it won't. And you're done. It takes general old school Dexcool. Just use that. All American cars use Dexcool these days. So peace out, bitches. Hope somebody learned something in the last 8.5 minutes of my bumblings.